And good afternoon. Welcome to Kelowna Now Live on YouTube, X, and it's Jason Mann with Jim Check with our stories for the day.
And we're trying something new. Before we get to that, we're going to try and put this story up on Kelowna Now so that you can go to Kelowna Now at the top of the feed. There should be a story there with a picture, and it's running right now, so you should be able to see the live feed.
Fingers crossed.
And Nick says it's working. Nick just tested it and said it's working. So some people are having trouble finding it, so now we're going to put it on Kelowna Now. .com, go to the homepage and you'll find it.
And actually when you open the story, you can actually hit a button and it'll start counting down, showing you how long until we're on, and you can even set a notification.
And you can set your watch to us. Well, close. Like we're on at 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. weekdays, Monday through Friday.
All right. Well, Bonnie Henry has advised the province of BC to offer smokable fentanyl in a report backing safer supply.
Yeah, so a review of prescribed safer supply programs in BC says the province should increase the range of drugs available to include smokable fentanyl and other substances. The public health officer, Dr. Bonnie Henry, says in a report that the province should work with drug makers and distributors to expand choices for those at risk of overdose. The report says an ethical analysis of prescribed safer supply concludes that interventions to reduce certain or severe harms are justified, even if it means there may be uncertain harms to the broader population.
Agree to disagree.
Henry's review also says the province should stop calling the program prescribed safer supply and instead refer to the prescribed alternatives to toxic supply.
Oh, sort of like marketing. I'm sorry. It's just...
All right. The review says there needs to be substantial increases in supportive and low-income housing because of the link between poverty and homelessness with the problematic drug use. Henry's review says concerns over diversion of prescribed opiates should be viewed as failure to meet the needs of people who use drugs, who may trade or sell prescribed drugs for more powerful substances such as fentanyl. The report says 4,331 people have access to prescribed safer supply, and that's a small fraction of at least 115,000 people with opioid use disorder in BC. Wow.
Wouldn't you like to just expand your customer base by 110,000 people, just like that?
I know that this is a personal issue for you, and you're venting your frustration.
Yeah. Well, if you start losing people that you love due to fentanyl, then...
I get it.
So there was a heavy police presence in Rutland earlier today, and it was not a bank robbery, but...
That's a file photo, though, that we took the other day when the RCMP members were doing some training out here in the Landmark District. But despite multiple media reports suggesting otherwise, no banks were robbed in Rutland today. And that's according to the Kelowna RCMP and the Southeast Emergency Response Team that swarmed Plaza 33 Strip Mall around 10 a.m. today. They did take someone into custody there that they said there is no concern for public safety.
And British Columbia's River Forecast Center has downgraded flood advisories across the province's south coast as a
so those evacuation alerts have been lifted, and we've been talking about that. We won't say much more than that because most of us don't live in that area, but there you go.
And access to the Port of Vancouver has been restored after an anti-Israel protest.
Yeah, so they were blocking access to the Port of Vancouver, and that's been restored. The protesters were there with Palestinian flags and banners set up and blockades at the two entry points this morning. But that has been cleared as of now. The Vancouver Port is Canada's largest, facilitating trade of about $305 billion in goods annually and generating about $11.9 billion in annual GDP. I think the last time people blocked some roads, they, what did they do? Some of those guys are still in jail.
Yeah, 4 of them, I think. Well, actually, if you can scroll down a little bit there, this headline's a little bit wonk. The Crown has stayed a charge of seeking to obtain sexual services against a Saskatchewan legislature member.
Yeah, Ryan Domator recently completed a prostitution offender intervention program. So he's gone through the program. The program is an alternative measure that lets people charged with an offense to address the root cause without having going through court. So it's the first time he's faced such an offense. So the Crown agreed that he could take the program, and out of the program, he won't end up with a criminal record. He was removed from caucus by Premier Scott Moe, and he now sits as an independent and he refused to comment on the issue, and he just wants to get on with his life. He was elected in the Cut Knife Turtleford constituency in the 2020 provincial election.
And a BCHL has finalized agreement for 5 AJHL teams to join the BCHL League.
Yeah, we talked about this a while ago when that surprise thing came out, when they were, like they were all kind of taken aback. But this is a done deal now. 5 Alberta Junior Hockey League teams and the British Columbia Hockey League have officially finalized the franchise agreements. The move will see the Blackfall Bulldogs, the Brooks Bandits, the Okotoks Oilers, and Sherwood Park Crusaders, and the Spruce Grove Saints immediately become members of the BCHL, jumping ship from the AJHL.
I wonder if they'll change it to the Western JHL.
Would make sense.
Yeah. The talented biathletes from all corners of BC are set to compete at West Kelowna's Telemark Nordic Ski Club over the weekend.
In total, about 110 athletes and coaches will be taking part in the Odlum Brown Biathlon BC Cup. That's where they ski and shoot.
Yeah, that's cool, hey?
Yeah.
Really quite Canadian.
And we do have a video that we're going to show again. We showed it this morning of the KSS Owls, because the tip-off goes tonight. I think Nick was saying 7:30. But there is a slam dunk contest prior to that. So if you want to get a seat in that gymnasium, it's going to be packed, right? So, I've been in that gymnasium a few times when the KSS Owls are hosting this tournament. It's great fun, and the students in that school really get into it. Let's roll that video.
And we're joined by KSS head coach Harry Parmar. Heading into this tournament, where do you rank this in terms of excitement for you as a coach, for all the things that happen in the course of a season?
This is our 6th tournament of the year, and it ranks right behind the BCs for me personally. Like, everything we do up to this point is to get ready for this tournament, and then whatever happens after this tournament, we do to get ready for BCs.
Right. It's so much fun for everybody when they get into this gym, especially if KSS is playing, the energy level. Do you feel that too?
Oh, it's hard not to. And the other teams, like Oak Bay was number 1, and we were in Victoria, and he's like, Coach, I want to pay you in a final. I'm like, they want to play in front of all the fans, but they want us in a final game and then see how everyone reacts to it. So the atmosphere is electric. It can be good for us, it can be bad for us, but I think mostly it's positive.
There you go. If you're looking for something to do this Thursday night, KSS Owls, get you a little b-ball action, slam dunk. Some great players there too, right? So
sounds good.
Little futures now. Brought you some futures now, and then this one just is like a Tesla is approaching Ford and GM's global employee headcount. That's interesting, isn't it? So you can see Ford's at 170,000 in 2023, GM at 163,000, and Tesla there coming in from behind.
Wow.
At 140,000. You got to think of Tesla is about a 10-year-old company, 11. I think 2008, 2010 was that Roadster.
Think of what they've done to bring the electric car along.
Yeah, so there you go. And then other EV news today, Volvo halts investment in Polestar. When I went to the EV show in Vancouver, fully charged. Polestar was front and center. They had out front. They kind of owned the space. Polestar was one of the biggest displays there.
Now is that Ford based?
Volvo
based.
Volvo.
Oh, it's just Volvo. Okay.
Yeah, but Polestar is going independent from its parent company, Volvo, which has announced it will stop investing in the EV maker. I think Volkswagen's got some other. That's Volkswagen. But it seems like some of the automakers are pulling back from EVs. So anyway, Polestar's going to have to go it alone. And a little more news from Tesla. I went to Fully Charged, and I was surprised that Fully Charged was said it was billed as the biggest EV show in the world. No Teslas. There was a couple Teslas there, but they weren't there as Tesla. They were there as other people, doing other things. But Tesla has announced that it will be at the Chicago Auto Show, the largest auto show in the world, and the Toronto Auto Show goes this coming month as well, I think. And Tesla will be there as well. And they did say they're going to start advertising more because they get the word out more about what's going on. So Tesla will be at those 2 auto shows in case you're interested in going to an auto show.
Yeah, they're going legit.
And then we'll bring another poll. And this was a poll across Canada. Would you support an expansion of natural gas production, construction of new gas pipelines if it helped reduce global reliance on coal by providing a cleaner alternative energy source for countries that depend on coal for electricity? And that seemed to have resounding support, if you believe polls.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, the way the question is worded, it seems to make sense.
Our friend Tiff Macklin came out with a statement today, and I think partially, I'd say it's mostly true. He's saying you're not going to solve the housing crisis with low interest rates, and you're not going to solve it with high interest rates. I don't think interest rates are the biggest determinant, but where it is a problem for people is people that got mortgages that have no high interest rates when they got them with low, and it might push some of those people out of those homes. But what he's saying is it has to do with supply and demand.
Yeah.
We have to build more houses. Or decrease the people coming in. Do you know what I mean? You can't increase the demand by bringing in 1.2, 3, 4 million people and not increase the supply. I mean, that's just basic math, I think. I took that in school, I think. Mm-hmm. Even in Greenwood, they taught us that.
I have a lot of comments, but I'm going to bite the tongue.
And then in our X-Files, trending around the world, actually. Danielle Smith has made Alberta trend. She introduced some parent protection measures in Alberta. She did a live stream. I watched that live stream. And then she took a lot of questions, and she's a very smart lady. But she handled all the questions that were that some other politicians may have not handled so gracefully. You know, I think she's one of the most powerful women in Canada, as far as grace goes too. Like, she's a very smart lady. You know, one day maybe the future Prime Minister of Canada. And there you go. And a stat.
Yeah, stats man.
Stats man. Ready? You go ahead.
Did you know that Canada has the longest coastline of any country in the world?
That's right, stretching over 202,080 kilometers and touches which three oceans?
The Atlantic, the Pacific,
of course,
and
the Arctic. Yeah, there you go. That's a lot of beach to explore.
That sure is.
Canada is also the second largest landmass in the world, so it kind of stands to reason that it would be have a lot of coastline. Definitely, Russia has the largest landmass in the world, but it has a lot of countries that border it that don't have as much ocean frontage as Canada does, right? So,
and I hear it's really hard to build highways in Russia. Just the
terrain,
the terrain, the land, a little bit.
It's hard to build highways here too.
Yeah, I suppose
those Rocky Mountains cost some grief, as we've seen from the golden piece there. They've been building that for the last, I don't know how many years, 15 years. Yeah. Anyway, that's our news for tonight. We'll be back at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to try and put up that story so it's easier to find our news. And we have a lot more sections. Like, again, if you want to see what we're bringing to you, the 9 a.m. news this morning brought a lot more sections than we just covered off here, and we're going to try and bring you that stuff so that, you know, when you're talking to a friend, you can say, hey, did you know? Bring you stuff you need to know.
Spend a few minutes with us, and hopefully make you a little wiser.
It's like
for the
stuff
day.
that matters, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Kelowna Now with Stuff That Matters at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And until then, you have a safe and warm evening.